Hello and welcome back everyone to a new video. Today's video is going to be less fun than my usual videos. There's going to be less humor. No humor, although I guess some might say this is a situation or a video where a little bit of humor helps, but in any case, I'm not the one to make it. We'll be looking at destruction sites in Ukraine, civilian targets that have been destructed, attacked, rocketed, bombed by the Russian army, and we are looking at this with a project that's called The Undeniable Street View. A little bit of history about this project I found in this article here by the magazine The Drum that I want to read you. It may take 4 or 5 minutes, but I think the time is necessary because it's quite informative. So thank you, Amy Houston, for putting this together. I will start here. On February 24th, 2022, Vladimir Putin waged an illegal war with Ukraine, inflicting mass devastation on the country, resulting in thousands of deaths and millions of innocent displaced people. In the year that has passed, a ravaged Ukraine is totally unrecognizable. There's been quite a clear pattern of targeting civilian areas, says Jamie Canaway, Executive Creative Director at And Us. We had the idea of bringing it to life in a way that people can explore and see in a visceral way. It brings it home in a different way. Whether it was Yemen or Iraq, there's never been an accurate representation of war-torn country on Google Street View. Google, understandably, don't want to show violence. With this in mind, just how difficult would it be to get someone on the ground to document the conflict? Through the previous projects, the indie agency had a network of people that could help. Diego Borges, the agency's tech director, was able to connect with an executive working at Google Street View who, in turn, happened to know someone that was in Ukraine at the time who could get images. From the beginning, the duo says that the entire project has been both serendipitous and scary. Taking a street view camera through an active war zone is obviously not an advisable plan, admits Canaway. There were many times they would be on the phone with their Ukrainian contact and he was in an area that was under attack or experiencing power cuts. With a project like this, there are always going to be trepidations, no matter how important the cause is. We don't want to put anyone at risk, and we don't want to put anyone at the risk from a security point of view either, he adds, stating clearly that the photographer and the agency's safety was always front of mind. Potential issues with Google were also a consideration, as the photographer had previously worked with the tech giant and had been supplied with equipment under strict conditions. After talks, they came to an agreement. There's a situation on the ground that people need to see. The original plan was to get their Ukrainian partner with a remote-controlled armored car fitted with cameras and drones, but in the planning stages, the photographer suggested using the masses of footage he had on file from his posting in Ukraine. Quickly, the creatives realized they could use the scenes from various cities and not just one symbolic area in order to give an accurate representation of what was really happening on the ground. They could show the real devastation of Kiev, Irpin, Kharkiv, Izium, Chernihiv, and Sumy. There's no bigger documentation of what is happening, says Canaway. There's lots of other footage like drone shots, stuff on CNN and BBC, a clip here and something there, but to say, come see for yourself, essentially we realized that the angle was that we were asking people to bear witness. This, he adds, has been important throughout horrific events in history and is extremely powerful. For the immersive user journey itself, the team wanted to show what seemed to be the deliberate targeting of civilian areas and to highlight that they were accessing something that was quite obviously a crime. The notion of being an undeniable truth eventually led the team to the frank campaign name, The Undeniable Street View. Obviously, mistruth is a weapon of war. You take the camera down the street and it goes up onto this. There's something very raw and untouched about it. Looking through the before and after images were shocking, they said. The end result is a dedicated website that allows the user to make their way through the streets of a chosen 6 Ukrainian cities, similar to Google Maps. By zooming in and looking around, people get a full 360 view of the devastation inflicted upon those areas. But to guarantee the project would be seen by millions, the agency needed the backing of a client. There's a bit of virtual signaling, there's a lot of stuff going on there versus actual people and institutions on the ground who are trusted with where the money goes, he said. The more they spoke with Ukrainians on the ground, the more they realized some charities were not as trusted or helpful as others. This meant laborious research and vetting process to ensure the partners they brought on were valid and doing vital work on the ground. The collective includes President Zelensky's United 24 initiative, Voices of Children, which offers long-term psychological support to children affected by war, plus Nova Ukraine and Vostok SOS, both provide Vostok SOS probably. Both provide humanitarian supplies. Specifically, feedback from United 24 suggested that they get approached constantly to partner on projects and they don't go with everything. We were relying on United 24. It was just a big surprise that in the end they wanted to partner. We weren't expecting that. The campaign rollout was decided early on with huge emphasis on the press and social media. It is essentially a carrot that we are going to give PR for the wider conversation, admits Kenaway. He says they sought advice to see if it was PRable, and if not, they might have reconsidered what they were doing because that was the one chance it had and nobody had billions of dollars of money. We're going to try and get this through mainstream media and obviously the marketing world. I mean, I was a bit hesitant about the marketing media at first, but we said to our clients that marketing media is important because we can get it spreading in a different way, in a different low channels that will also give it exposure. Kenaway is super conscious that he doesn't want this project to come off as all about the agency, which would feel wrong. The initiative itself has to lead. He wants people to see the efficacy of it and why it's important. It's about the causes involved, the story behind, and maybe some of the technicality he includes. We're just the puppeteers. Yeah, so this is the background story to this very different Google Street View journey that I am showing you today. Let's get started. Here we have the first street. We are in Hostomelsky Highway in Irpin, nearby Kiev. We see a scene, sunny day. You can already see through the lens settings that if I click on after, it does look very different. You can see where rockets had hit the building. This gray weather, man, really doesn't help to somehow digest it. So the website is pretty straightforward. We have these regions that I mentioned, that were mentioned in the text, and a few streets to each region. I don't know if this project is updated or if this was kind of a one-off thing with a few chosen sites. It would be nice if this was updated, but of course the destruction of buildings, civilian targets, critical infrastructure monuments is documented by other institutions as well, I believe, by the Ukrainian Cultural Ministry. And who not, and it's a lot. And here we explicitly have civilian targets, the poorest, the weakest in such a war situation. And I would say let's try to get through it somehow and have a look at the sites chosen. This is Centralnia Borodyanka. Guess it's nearby Irpin. This house doesn't have any windows in. Can you imagine the blast that came from this? I think this is one of the most famous sites, this old prefab building, completely a hole goes through that building now, almost as if it wasn't there. Police and ambulance. The bus. You know. Flower shop. Doesn't sell many flowers at the moment anymore. Yeah. Imagine you live here, or here, or here, or here. Let's go to the Kiev region. Vokzalnaya station, street. Let's look at how black the black is from the smoke and from the fires that were there. How much destruction there is from it, just, you know, a couple of rockets of different sizes and different speeds and just shot somewhere many kilometers away to a house where people live. Yeah, it's hard to look at this. It's really hard. I don't know what was this year. We don't have a before and after. But looks like there was some more historic structure in front of it. Maybe a church of some kind. I'm not sure. Look at the bird's nest up there in the tree. Yeah, same images. Similar houses in a different part of Ukraine, in a different street in the same city. Similar destruction. The whole house just kind of wiped away. Guess maybe these were connected here. Police car in front of us. Maybe the police escorts us around for this project. Even there, the houses are damaged. Playground. You know, on a sunny day, this is a place like any other, you know, with people that just want to live their life independent from others, you know, people with families going to jobs and whatnot. But even sitting here and looking at this, like, I've looked at updated satellite pictures of, for example, Mariupol, the Azov factory, and there's a lot of destruction that one can see. But what was written in the text, I think, is very right. From this angle, you feel so much more powerless. You see that there's, you know, something bigger than you, machines that are shot by, you know, the press of a button, basically, leading to these images that are kind of branded into your mind, even if it's just like through a computer screen, you know, big Ukrainian flag there in the distance. Sometimes it's whole streets, and this is Central Street, it says. Here we can go a bit forward. You know, someone walking by looking at the destruction. It feels like a wild place to be. Maybe it feels like the safest place, because the rocket had already hit here. It just doesn't look very safe. Let's see how far we can go here. My God, look at everything. Pharmacy destroyed. Just these guys or kids with their bicycle. Here it continues. Maybe this is where we were before. You know what I mean? Look at these houses. No, I mean this. It's the same. So this white poster on the side. Here's this like crane sort of thing. I think it was the same what we saw in the distance there. Chernihiv. Yeah. If it wasn't for the black, it looks like an earthquake. Buildings just falling apart like castles made of sand. Or look at these cars. The amount of fire and noise and screaming and just like pure panic that must have been here in this very spot is just immeasurable. Three streets from Chernihiv to choose from. Yeah. I don't know. Is this a school maybe? Yeah. School number 18. Primary and secondary school. Yeah, I just guessed it because of the architecture and these basketball courts and yeah, it's a, you know, it's a school. And the last one from Chernihiv. I think this is the building we saw. We were here before, I think. I think this is the building we are now standing in front. Well, that's as much as I can figure out with my street view experience by now. Look at all these things that are laying here on the ground. They become like parts of the windows or the balconies or whatever. Oh my. And you know, in these apartments, I know the rocket hits there, but like, if you live here, are you still gonna stay there? Where are you going to go anyway? Can only be happy if the people were not there when this happened, but you know, it's a fire here as well that had happened. Some kind of couple walking around, mother with her child. This is a place like any other. Sumy region. City hospital. Guess the rocket hit here. Somewhere there. Far in the distance. That came. Just hit on the roof. Almost. Almost didn't hit the building. Yeah. Yeah, this is a very intense, immediate project. I think, I don't know if it's still up to date or not, but yeah. Brahovish, Brahovish-Sienska. street. I don't even know what to say anymore. This is just crazy, you know? All these places, all these buildings, and all these small cities meant something to someone at some point. There are places where people would meet, where people would go to shop, where they would go to a hospital. You know, look at the bus stop signs, have the same signs in other countries. Same trees, same cars, but this is not another country. It's heartbreaking to see how life inevitably has to go on. Just the background of the life has changed. The destruction, the horrors, the background painting is a different. And the feeling is a different. Let's go a bit further and see what we can find here. Naja. Both sides. This beautiful old buildings. Yeah, and the sunniest of weathers doesn't change it very much. Just entire little micro districts hit hard. This guy seems to have a pizza in his hand, you know. That's the reality of it. What you gonna do? And 500 meters over there, you wouldn't even see this anymore. You would know it maybe. Third Battle of Sumi area, civilian residential area. It's a tank. It's not much standing here. Can tell you that much. Yeah. I think we need way more pictures of such kind. It's just such an important work that they have done here somehow. I mean, in the way I'm seeing it, like I'm doing my part. You know, I've always looked on all of the maps that document the destroyed monuments, that display where the current front line goes, that display everything imaginable that goes on during this invasion. I have not found this up until 2 weeks ago. There's a before. No, yeah, there you go. The one thing that Eastern countries are great at is design their parks. You know, imagine here in a warm summer day sitting here with a little package of condensed milk. And now, yeah, Isium. Square in Isium. Always the same black facades with holes. Yeah. Central square of this, I guess, regional town in the Kiev region, or a little bit out of it, but you know, look at all these buildings. Almost all of them have a damage. All these people that worked here or used to come here. And Kharkiv. Oh my god. Yeah. Well, it's also the talent of a photographer to capture such a thing. Maybe the teddy bear there is staged. But what does it matter? Look at the massive house that this was, and like so many stories and like rooms are just taken off the buildings, just kind of this like shell. You remember the pictures of the World Trade Center when it was already collapsed or something? How these like facades or the like kind of inner structure, the scaffold of the building was kind of just still standing there. This goes very strongly in the same direction. This like heartless. Now very, very quiet. It's like pain frozen in time, preserved through this photograph. Yeah. Yeah, well, I think this is a very strong final image. I think that this was one of my more intense videos, and yeah, usually I say at this point, I hope you enjoyed it. Um, I guess you know that there's not much to enjoy here, but I think that it is important to look at it. It is important to not forget. I know it's been way over 2 years now, but it's important to not forget. It's important to be able to tell and have an idea. It's collective responsibility and individual effort required. Thank you for watching this with me, and I see you for the next video. Bye bye.